Hello and welcome to the Steve Kaylis Show. I'm Steve Kaylis. Now, I was going to wait before doing this episode. This is the Lessons from My Son sort of side series that runs alongside the main Steve Kaylis Show extravaganza. And the point of this series is to compile a series of episodes that contains advice that I would give my son, and I hopefully will give my son. But I'm always worried, what if something was to happen to me and I've got no way of teaching him the things I'd like to teach him and guiding him like a father should. So in the off chance something does happen to me, here is a record of my advice, my life experiences that I think would be beneficial to him. In this episode, I want to talk about what I do personally when I'm experiencing depression or anxiety, which has been a battle I've been in most of my adult and teenage life. Now, I was going to wait to do this episode, but the reason I want to do it now is because I'm actually experiencing it. I'm feeling very depressed at the moment. The last 48 hours, it sort of struck me like a hurricane. Normally, I can sense it coming and feel it coming. There's a weird numbness, there's a lack of motivation, there's a greyness, which heralds the onslaught of a sort of depressive episode. But this one snuck up on me, so it will help me and hopefully help you, Leo, my son, to circumnavigate any depressive any depression you might be feeling, or any sadness you might be feeling, or any anxiety you might be feeling. If I can describe what I'm feeling right now and then talk about how I plan on getting out of it, wrestling my way out of it. First of all, I always find that I succumb. I'm always initially defeated. This morning when I woke up, I just sat on the bed like a zombie. And my normal enthusiasm for the podcast, my excitement, my motivation, the normal colours that I see are just gone. And suddenly there's a feeling of impending doom on my stomach, awful dread, and apathy towards things I'm normally very passionate about. I would just either want to sit there and cry or stand up and wander around aimlessly. I don't care about whether I'm early or late for work. I don't care about whether, just these things that are totally contrary to my personality. My default setting is, well, I've got to go to work. People depend on me, so I get up, I get dressed, I go to work. Okay, that's good. So what I find I have to do to survive is reduce my expectations of myself. So normally my expectations are quite wild. My goal is to be the number one podcaster in the UK, which is an outrageous goal. But today my goals are very simple. Get out of bed, done. Go to work, done. Do the job successfully, done. Be a good parent, be a good father. And if anything, those things are heavy expectations sometimes. So if you're really depressed or anxious, just getting out of bed, ticking out one box in the morning is great. Just, doing the hoovering, washing the dishes, making your bed. These are very simple things ordinarily, but if you're really depressed, if you're really trudging through the syrup of your mind, if you can feel that you're being affected by it, then these things are wonderful achievements. My biggest achievement of the day is being sat here recording this, because I have to turn on my podcasting personality in order to make it, it's an interesting episode, an interesting thing for you to hear or watch. But I desperately don't feel like it. I could just lay on a sofa and doom scroll through the graveyard that used to be Twitter, and just that I could disappear the entire day that way. But I'm not going to be the world's number one, the country's number one podcaster doing that. So I have to really heave myself out of bed in order to, and off the sofa in order to do these things. So my advice to begin with is acknowledge it. And don't be afraid of it. Okay, here we go. I always say to myself, here we go. Okay, I'm feeling depressed. What exactly is it? It's a lethargy. It's a weight. It's a sickness. It's an anxiety. It's on my gut. My brain's foggy. I'm miserable. These things, I acknowledge those things. Now, what makes me feel better? Like I said just now, ticking the boxes. I've got out of bed. I've gone to work. Those things, if that was all I did for the rest of the day, then that would be enough. Next, I do things that I know that I like. I like cuddling my fiance and cuddling my son, or playing with my son. So those things, I can do those things. There's things that we know are key to the way that the human brain works, into our happiness. Go for walks. I mean, if you're depressed, like I'm depressed, and I thought of going for a walk. It's just you might as well ask me to scale Kilimanjaro. But going for a walk, being in amongst nature helps. Another trick that I find really helpful is if I have any external worries external worries or things happening in life that will make the depression worse. Because you don't want to be depressed and then an extra added layer of anxiety on top of it. Because I've got to get this done, I've got to do this. So I make a list of all the things that I have going on at the minute that need to be tackled at some point. So I need to make a new advert for Graham's Windows and Doors, our sponsor. I need to edit this big episode of the podcast we recorded last night. And then once it's written down and on paper, I then feel much more in control of it. And I can say all these things can be done, this, starting from tomorrow. In incremental bits. I can do this little bit tomorrow, and so on and so on and so on. Relieving yourself of expectation and worries is key, because all you should be focusing on is feeling better in that moment, getting plenty of rest, drinking plenty of water. I mean, that's the other thing, giving your body the fuel it needs. I tend to think, well, I'm depressed, I'm going to eat loads of sugar. I'm like a cookie monster, I just consume everything. But it makes me feel worse because I'm then crashing on sugar. My body's not feeling great, I'm feeling fat, I'm feeling miserable. It just spirals out of control, makes me feel worse. So, the good thing to do really is immediately go, okay, my brain's in trouble today, so I'm going to try and take care of my body. If you can go for a walk, or go to the gym, or just do something light, get your body moving, and then eat something that isn't too bad for you and drink plenty of water. That also gives you the illusion of, that also gives you the sense of control, that you're controlling that everything's okay. So that's essentially what I do. And then, the sad part is, wait it out. If you're feeling too bad, then ring your GP. There is resources online like Mind. These companies can help you. But I've had to learn by myself the tools and give myself the structure and scaffolding I need to be able to cope, because I'm a father. I've got a podcast, I've got my fiance, I have responsibility, so I have to learn how to manage my depression myself. And so do you probably. You've got to find ways that work for you to make you feel better. Even if that thing is achieve one tiny thing in the morning, even if that's make yourself a cup of tea or straighten the cushions on the sofa or whatever it is, and then going back to bed and resting and sheltering yourself. As long as you're doing what you think is best to navigate your way out of your mental health crisis, then you're on the right track. And that shows that there is some life in you, because you have some manner of determination to escape out of it. I sometimes write a list of things that I still like and enjoy. I don't feel like doing any of those things today, but I've got many passions and things that I enjoy, which reminds me that I've still got a zest for life. I've still got passions and interests, and that makes me feel like, okay, well, I'm not dead. My brain isn't dead. I'm not circling the drain. I'm not particularly suicidal at the minute, even though the thoughts are there. It just doesn't mean that you have to give them any credence or give them any weight, because they're just thoughts. You can let them pass on by. You don't have to acknowledge them. So, son, Leo, I'm just waffling at you because I'm depressed and I'm struggling to form coherent thoughts. But so if I was you, if you're waking up this morning and you're feeling depressed, no matter how old you are, then set yourself a small target for the day, no matter how small. Even if it's just getting out of bed, making a cup of tea, doing the hoovering, something small like that, which is, can sometimes be gargantuan if you're very, very depressed or sad. Then set yourself a small goal. Don't panic. You know what this feels like. If it's new to you, then examine it. Don't be afraid of it. It's your brain. Your brain has an illness. It's like you've got a cold or a flu, but it's in your brain. So you go, okay, well, this is temporary. It's not going to last forever. You have to sort of mother yourself or father yourself. You have to parent yourself and say, everything's okay. Now, you're going to be right. You'll be fine in a couple of days or a few days. Eventually it will pass. And if it doesn't pass, make sure you go to your GP. But there are things we can do that we have to be proactive in fighting this depression. You would take medicine if you had a flu. You would take cold and flu tablets. You would medicate yourself. And the best medicine I find for me personally is to fight it, to try and get angry and say, no, you're not going to fucking beat me today. But then there are signs that maybe I need to be sleeping more, getting some more rest. That's the other thing. I wonder if depression sometimes is you're doing too much. There's too much pressure on your brain. You're not sleeping very well. Time to remedy those things. So that's what I do. I get proactive when I'm depressed, and I try and tackle it. But sometimes I feel no guilt at all if it's on a weekend. I've got nothing to do, and I'll just stay in bed. And it's not very often because, like I said, I've got responsibilities, people that rely on me. But if it's my time to have a lay-in, because me and Mish take it in turns to have lay-ins because it's only fair, then I won't feel guilty at all about laying there. I think about all the things I enjoy in life. I enjoy fantasizing about what would happen if I won the lottery, or what would happen if the podcast suddenly overnight became successful, that sort of thing. So I hope there's some wisdom in there, but maybe I'll re-record this again when I'm not depressed, so that I can form more coherent sentences. But that's what I do. That's my experience. That's what I'm dealing with right now. And just know, Leo, if you're listening to this, or whoever you are listening to this, it's okay. It's okay. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. The depression might just be a sign that your brain's telling you just to get a little bit more rest, or take the pressure off of yourself. You can afford to take your foot off the gas just for a little while. People around you will understand, and I hope that if you are feeling like that, if you are feeling like I'm feeling right now, that you get the help that you need, or that you're able to find within yourself the resources and the tools you need to start to pull yourself out of this particular well. So yeah, that's it. So thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Remember, everything we do is sponsored by Graham's Windows and Doors at grahamswindowsanddoors.co.uk. Graham's Windows and Doors are our sponsors. They're brilliant. We love them. Sherelle and James are good friends and good partners. We really appreciate everything they're doing. We've got a lot of big projects coming up over the next couple of months, so stay tuned for that. And if you need new windows, doors, or conservatories, go to Yeovil's finest purveyor of those things. It's Graham's Windows and Doors at grahamswindowsanddoors.co.uk. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking the follow button on Spotify, leaving us a review. Those things really, really help. Thank you so much. I've been Steve Kalis, and I will see you next time.
Hiya, you're right. Hi, everyone.